hunting the paranormal with metal in their veins. No fear in their hearts as they break the chains of the supernatural. They will not rest until they face the demons, put them to the test.
Ooh.
There we go.
Hey, there you are.
We're on this today. You know what time it is? It's 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yeah, on a Sunday. We're so damn energetic tonight.
You know where your cryptids are?
You beat me to it on this one.
Just like last time. You're a little slow tonight.
Number one fan. Right.
Hey,
It is Alien Abduction Month. And this is one of those that, in retrospective, we've had Betty and Barney Hill open us up.
Yes.
We had a CIA file on that one. We then went to Travis Walton, who brought up a lot of possibilities and doubts onto whether or not he was really abducted.
Yeah, two good cases.
Tonight we had two good cases. Tonight we're gonna go into a questionable case. And then we'll make it up to you next week with we'll end Alien Abduction Month with something really good.
Yes. Definitely, we're going to need to do that after tonight, I think.
So tonight's topic is Whitley Strieber, author of Communion and a whole bunch of other books.
And the movie by the same name.
And a movie by the same name. So we'll go ahead and we'll cover Communion. First and foremost, I did have a big, long, detailed web page that I was going to go through and read, but it's like 62 pages, and it's Whitley Strieber basically talking about how he is the point person between us and the aliens, and we are not going to be quoting from any of that.
Thank God.
So we're just going to cover the basics and move on.
All right.
All right. So we've got Betty and Barney Hill. We're in the 60s. Travis Walton was in the 78, I believe it was.
And now we're into the 80s.
We're in December 26, 1985. Going to be reading from Wikipedia because, well, you'll find out why we're just so downtrodden on this one. All right, so Strieber states, let's go back into Whitley Strieber's past first before we go on, because I think it needs to be done.
Yeah,
so Strieber begins his career as a novelist with horror novels. Some of his books were The Wolfen in 1978 and The Hunger in 1981, both of which were made into feature films, followed by the less successful horror novels Black Magic in 1982 and The Night Church 1983. Now, these are important facts before we move on. So, we've got two good books. They get turned into movies later on. And then less successful in 82 and 83. Now, remember these dates. They all come into play.
Uh-oh.
All right, so Strieber then turned to speculative fiction with Social Conscience. Collaborating with James Nuckna, he wrote War Day in 1984 about the dangers of limited nuclear warfare, and Nature's End in 1986, a novel about environmental apocalypse. He independently authored Wolf of Shadows in 1985, a young adult novel set in the aftermath of a nuclear war. those did not do that great. 1986, Schreiber's fantasy novel Cat Magic was published with co-authorship credited to Jonathan Barry, who was billed as an aerospace industry consultant and practicing witch. In the 1987 paperback edition, Strieber states that Jonathan Barry is fictitious and that he is the sole author of Cat Magic. Schreiber's personal publishing company, Walker and Collier, is named after two characters in Cat Magic. Later, less than successful thrillers by Strieber included Billy in 1990 and The Wild 1991, Unholy Fire 1992, and The Forbidden Zone in 1993.
I think he needs to give up his writing.
So why is good old Whitley, our topic for the night? Well, we've got to go into communion. The book and the movie. Now, mind you, when I read Communion, the book, I thought it was pretty good. Movie, Communion, I thought it was pretty good.
I'll leave it alone.
I'm gonna leave that alone too. All right, so Strieber states that he was abducted from his cabin in upstate New York on the evening of December 26, 1985, by non-human beings. He wrote about this experience and related experiences in Communion 1987, his first non-fiction book. Although the book is perceived generally as an account of alien abduction, Strieber draws no conclusions about the identity of the alleged abductors. He refers to the beings as the visitors, a name chosen to be as neutral as possible to entertain the possibility that they are not extraterrestrials.
Say what? Not extraterrestrials? Hello.
So you're basically giving yourself an out. Neurologist Stephen Novella remarks that the details of Whitney's tale of waking up seemingly paralyzed fits the description of hypnagogia, a fairly common neurological phenomenon that is mistaken by some for an intervention by demons or aliens. Both the hardcover and paperback edition of Communion reached the #1 position of the New York Times bestseller list nonfiction with more than 2 million copies collectively sold. Let's say that again for the people in the back. Both the hardcover and paperback edition of Communion reached the #1 position on the New York Times bestseller list nonfiction with more than 2 million copies collectively sold.
Yeah.
I don't want to skip the skeptics corner just quite yet. Although it was published as nonfiction, the book editor of the Los Angeles Times pronounced the follow-up title, Transformation 1988, to be fiction and removed it from the nonfiction bestseller list. It nonetheless made the top 10 on the fiction side of the chart. It's a reprehensible thing, Strieber responded. My book is a true story. Placing this book on the fiction list is an ugly example of exactly the kind of blind prejudice that has hurt human progress for many generations, unquote. Criticism noting the similarity between the non-human beings in Schreiber's autobiography accounts and the non-human beings in his initial horror novels. We'll say that again for the people in the back. We're stressing certain things here.
Absolutely.
Criticism, noting the similarity between the non-human beings in Strieber's autobiographical accounts and the non-human beings in his initial horror novels, was typically acknowledged by the author as a fair observation, but not indicative of his autobiographical works being fictional. Quote, the mysterious small beings that figure prominently in cat magic seem to be an unconscious rendering of the visitors created before I was aware that they may be real, unquote. The mysterious small beings that figure prominently in cat magic, a book that didn't do great, seem to be an unconscious rendering of the visitors created before I was aware they may be real.
Uh-huh.
So everybody, we're going to look at this one as a trend. We're coming along. We've got Betty and Barney Hill. They have a CIA file on them that says it was an alien abduction. We have Travis Walton abducted. Nobody believed him. Now we have Communion, a true story that we're not believing.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
Since the 1987 publication of Communion, Strieber wrote 4 additional autobiographies, detailing his experiences with the visitors. Transformation, 1988, a direct follow-up. Breakthrough, The Next Step, 1995, a reflection on the original events and accounts of sporadic contact he subsequently experienced. And The Secret School, 1996, in which he examined strange memories from his childhood. And lastly, Solving the Communion Enigma, What Is to Come, 2011.
Yes. Oh, I'm reserving comment for now. I gotta leave this alone.
Skeptics Corner might be the last half hour at this rate.
Right.
In Solving the Communion Enigmas, Strieber reflects on how advances in scientific understanding since his 1987 publication may have shed light on what he perceived, noting, and I quote, among other things, since I wrote Communion, science has determined that parallel universes may be physically real and that time travel may in some way be possible, unquote. The book is a consolidation of UFO sightings and related phenomenon, including crop circles, alien abductions, mutilations, and deaths in an attempt to discern any kind of meaningful overall pattern. Strieber concludes that the human species is being shepherded to a higher level of understanding and existence with an endless multiverse of matter, energy, space, and time. He also writes more candidly about the deleterious effects his initial experiences had upon him staying at his upstate New York cabin in the 1980s, noting, I was regularly drinking myself to sleep when we were there. I would listen to the radio until late hours drinking vodka, unquote.
And there it is.
I was regularly, being a keyword, regularly,
yes.
Drinking myself to sleep when we were there. I would listen to the radio until late hours drinking
vodka. Yeah. Oh, all the earmarks. Yes. Loving this.
Oh, it's just going to keep getting better. Mind you, this is not going to be as bad of a show as Thunderbirds.
Right.
Random thoughts.
Well, this can be right up there, but we can manage and make it somewhat decent.
Well, I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to tell the story, and unfortunately, Skeptic's Corner is pretty much the entire damn hour because
Yes,
Whitley's shooting himself in the foot.
absolutely. By everything he is saying right there.
Oh yeah, well my characters from Cat Magic that were in beforehand, they didn't do very well. Just happened to match the aliens that took care of me, but they're not aliens; they're visitors. Oh, it's going to get a lot worse, people. We try not to crap on anybody's name and what they stand for, but as we go along with Whitley, you can't help but just question. Other visitor-themed books of Strieber's include Majestic, 1989, a novel about the Roswell UFO incident, The Communion Letters, 1997, reissued in 2003, a collection of letters from readers reporting experiences similar to Strieber's. Confirmation, 1998, in which Strieber reviews a variety of evidence that is suggestive of alien contact and considers what more would be required to provide confirmation. The Greys, 2006, a novel in which his impressions of alien contact are presented through a fictional thriller espionage narrative. And then he wrote Hybrids in 2011, a fictional narrative that imagines human alien hybrids being born into the modern world.
Well, hello.
Additional visitor-themed writings. I'm seeing a trend.
Okay.
Additional visitor-themed writings include a screenplay for the 1989 film Communion, directed by Philip Mora and starring Christopher Walken as Strieber. By the way, Christopher Walken's good in that because I like Christopher Walken. The movie's good. Look at it as a movie. Fiction. It's weird. It's different. It's no Close Encounters of the Third Kind. We'll throw that out one right there. It is not a Close Encounters of the Third Kind. But it's decent. Anybody that's watching, if you want to throw in your 2 cents, we're at 18 minutes and we're getting closer and closer to Skeptic's Corner. All right, so the movie covers material from the books Communion and Transformation. Strieber has stated that he was dissatisfied with the film, which utilizes scenes of improvised dialogue and includes themes not present in his books. Strieber also wrote a screenplay for his novel Majestic, which to date has not been filmed. Whitley Strieber has repeatedly expressed frustrations that his experience have been taken as alien contact when he does not actually know what they are. Strieber has reported anomalous childhood experiences and suggested that he may have suffered some sort of early interference by intelligence or military agencies. He may have suffered some sort of early interference by intelligence or military agencies. He was extensively tested for temporal lobe epilepsy and other brain abnormalities at his own request, but his brain was found to be functioning normally. The results of these tests were reported in his book Transformation.
Shit. Brain's functioning normally.
Okay. All right.
Christ.
All right. So we're gonna have to basically just turn the last 30 minutes.
We're gonna have to, dude.
Because we're coming up on an end. So let's redefine what we got. let's cover his other books. So, Wolfen is about werewolves. The Hunger is about vampires. They don't make, those are good books. Then he kind of writes a bunch of stuff about nuclear warfare and other things and weird things and other things that don't do so well until he is visited by the visitors, which aren't really aliens, because you can't really say that they're aliens because he doesn't know what they were. And then, of course, this went on for a while. Yeah. Okay, so Whitley has been writing fiction for more than 40 years. Notable titles are The Wolfen and the Hunger. Strieber contends that his writing streak was interrupted one night in the late 80s by an alien abduction in upstate New York. Really, buddy? Your books weren't doing so well before you got abducted. So apparently Strieber was sleeping alone in his cabin. He was wakened by strange noises. He purportedly saw a small non-human entity approaching his bed. Suddenly it was morning. Not only had he awoken disoriented, but he felt oddly aggressive too. It was during a session of regressive hypnosis a few months later that some of the memories returned. According to Strieber, beings that he had since referred to as visitors entered his home and abducted him. While seen as a work of fiction, added to his catalog of alien stories by many, Strieber never wavered in his position. In fact, his later work only doubled down on the notion that aliens were visiting him. In his book, The Key, A True Encounter, Strieber detailed another alien encounter that he claims took place in Toronto. Yeah! 1998, June 6th, asleep in his Delta Chelsea hotel room in the middle of the night on June 6, 1998. Strieber claimed to have been visited by another mysterious stranger. Quote, I got up to open the door thinking it was the room service waiter, Strieber recalled. It was not. It was a man I described as about 5.5 feet tall, older looking, like someone in his 70s. He wore dark colored clothing, a turtleneck, and charcoal slacks. Strieber claimed the visitor stood motionless by the window for nearly an hour, expounding on the dangers of creating an intelligence more involved than its creator. Strieber said that it was the, quote, most extraordinary conversation I have ever had in my life. Many are skeptical of Strieber's alien abduction claims, but one former Green Beret commander and developer of weapons at Los Alamos, New Mexico, John B. Alexander, believes him. Quote, for more than 2 decades, I have been interacting with Whitley Strieber and found him to be one of the most intelligent and thoughtful researchers in the field. Said Alexander, there is no doubt that he has some very strange experiences, ones that even he does not claim to fully understand.
Yeah. Yeah. I got nothing. I just can't come up with nothing right now. This is. Dude, I don't know.
I haven't even moved it off to UFO, the aftermath, because it's all.
Yeah.
Sorry, I needed another drink there.
Yeah.
I gotta drink copious amounts of beer just to get through this.
Shit. Just bring over my Jack, I'll be fine. Oh my god, dude.
So, since we got 5 more minutes, why don't we go ahead and talk about a little bit more of his other stuff that he has?
What other crap does he have?
Well, he also writes books about paranormal concepts.
Oh, shit.
So he's kind of wrapped up in the paranormal field as well.
Well, hell. Guess we're gonna have to straighten that out.
Whitley Strieber is currently the host of the spiritual and science-themed podcast Dreamland, available on a weekly basis from his website Unknown Country.
God, now I'm gonna have to
Program was-
listen to this just to see what the hell he's saying. Thanks.
The program was a former companion show to Coast AM, with both shows founded by broadcaster Art Bell before being taken on by Strieber in 1999.
No way.
Strieber has also continued writing novels, including The Last Vampire, 2001, Little Stream, 2003, both being sequels to his 1981 vampire novel, The Hunger, as well as authored 2012 The War for Souls, a horror novel about the interdimensional invasion in Critical Mass, 2009, a thriller about nuclear terrorism. Strieber also co-authored the graphic novel The Nye Incidents, 2008, along with co-authors Craig Spector and Gus Flohr. His novel, The Omega Point, is based on a hidden connection between 2012 and the Book of Revelation. This title, released in 2010, is Strieber's second novel, dealing with the subject of 2012, the first being 2012, The War for Souls. You know, the big end-all of everything, 2012. Woo! Oh, wait, no, we're in 2025.
Oh, yes.
We long past survived that.
I don't know if I could survive past this much longer. Oh,
Let me
crap.
see. What else? What else does this guy do? An entry in a popular teen lit genre, Melody Burning, was published in late 2011. The story centers on a feral teenager who lives within a skyrise building unnoticed, and a new tenant, a pop star named Melody, whom he falls in love.
Oh,
In
geez.
2012, Strieber began an alien-themed thriller series called Alien Hunter, the first volume of which was published in August 2013. A series based on the book was released by Sci-Fi in April 2016 and called Hunters. The second volume in the series, Alien Hunter Underworld, was published in August 2014. In March 2014, Strieber and his wife Anne published an account of her illness called Miraculous Journey. Mrs. Strieber experienced a cerebral hemorrhage in 2004 and in 2013 underwent treatment for a brain tumor. Strieber collaborated with religious scholar Jeffrey G. Kripal in 2016. Supernatural, a new vision of the unexplained, a study of occultism, supernatural experiences, parapsychology that explores why the supernatural is neither fantasy nor fiction, but a vital and authentic aspect of life.
Oh, he had to go that route. Okay. You know, I didn't like this at first. Now I'm really not liking any of this. Oh, hell.
Let's see here, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the big problem. When we were going down the alien abduction highway, this was one of the big ones. But then once we went down the rabbit hole, we started to find out that this guy basically calls himself the middleman between the visitors, not aliens.
Just the
Not
visitors.
aliens. The visitors that happen to look like everybody else that he already wrote about.
I need to speak with the visitors. If they're visiting, then yeah. Yeah. Okay. Not happening.
Then, of course, he's got his radio show. He's got his own website.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to tune into that website, listen to that. If it's actually still going.
I don't know. Give me half a second and I'll look it up. Unknown Country is still running.
Oh, God. All right.
They put up an article, a long lost interview details Albert Einstein's involvement with the Roswell UFO crash, February 13th, 2025. Okay, wait a minute. Roswell was 47. When did Einstein pass away?
That I don't know. To be honest, because I was never that smart.
If you guys want to go on to this, it's unknowncountry.com. If you want to listen to his works, feel free to do it. But I think the next half hour is just going to be to tear this guy down to pieces. So normally the last 5 minutes is the last 10 minutes is Skeptic Corner.
Yeah. We're going to need a lot longer than 10 minutes for Skeptic's Corner. Oh, Einstein died in 55.
I was wondering how he would have a bit to do with the Roswell crash. All right, James, go.
Damn. Well, I'll
Fire
just
up
leave
your
it.
train stop.
I never had the chance to read the book. Like I said before we got on air, I watched this movie several hours ago, and you say you like the movie, you like the book. I could. It took me 4 attempts to even to watch 10 minutes of this. Last time I had to give in and just watch it just to see. And being this author, novel writer, whatever, I mean, it was automatic for me to think, okay, writers have writer's blocks all the time. And I think he just came up with this visitors, finally to come up, get him a couple bestsellers, and then the rest were all shit. I'll say that. I had a hard time following the movie, but I do have to say what wasn't making sense to me was he was involving his son and his wife. His son was saying he was seeing the visitors. We'll leave it at that. And his wife was having something going on. And the friends, they figured something was going on, but they weren't sure. But to go to that kind of an extent, just to come up with a new book, none of the things clicked for me. I mean, again, between books and movies, things can get construed, left out, or other things added that weren't true or whatever. But it was almost like he was having a party with the quote-unquote visitors. And some of the things that he stated that happened to him, it almost looked like he was having a good time while they were doing it. And he wasn't stressed. It didn't look like, or it sounded like he was stressed. Like if he was, a person was really, truly abducted. It's almost like he was kind of going along with it.
Well, we know the movie was not exactly according to the book.
That's what I'm saying. It's because things are left out and other things are put in that weren't there.
Well,
or whatever.
in real life, Whitley was at his cabin by himself. There was no guests. There was no son. There wasn't no daughter. It was just him up at the cabin. So there was nobody else there to say things that happened.
Well, if he was staying up all night drinking vodka, that.
And the fact that he actually says that.
Yeah, the fact that he states that, I mean, that leads to all other sorts of shit. I just think he may have been a has-been writer and he needed to come up with something on the fly and he came up with this, and he had, like I said, he had a couple good bestsellers, and then subsequent novels after that started tanking. I mean, how many times can you write about the visitors and, you know, keep that best-selling thing going?
Well, he kind of worked himself into a niche. And remember, he started out with werewolves, vampires, nuclear holocausts.
Right.
So he's got an arc of where he's going with things. And then suddenly he gets abducted and it's a bestseller. And then everything else after that is about the same abduction. I did find a quote I'd like to read from him just to make James's head hurt just a little bit more tonight.
I'm just sitting here trying to figure out many times you can read different books about the same thing, just tweaked a little different in each book, and it's just the same thing.
Yeah,
You're just
and then
the same stuff over and over. Read that quote.
And one book is just other people's encounters that you're basically just having.
Yeah, why would you? Yeah.
In, and then reposting that in a book and going, here you go, here's a book.
Yes. Why? It makes no sense.
All right. So here's another quote from Whitley. The quote: "The close encounters I had between 1985 and 1994 were scary, but only because they were so unusual. The people or beings I met were complex and in the end, gentle. They had a wonderful, subtle sense of humor. There were many personalities involved, obviously many different individuals. My life with them was spiritually and intellectually rewarding. They responded with deep understanding to the path I was on and worked with me as true masters work with a student on the journey toward higher consciousness. This was an extremely subtle, paradoxical, and complicated experience. I encountered many different levels of being, some of them openly terrible, others more neutral, others sublime. I have no way of knowing if they were all the same or different creatures entirely. The message of my contact experience is, therefore, clear. Face the fear and you will get rewarded by breaking down natural barriers to perception that impede you from interacting completely with the world in which you live."
I got 3 letters. On. 3 letters for you. LSD.
Vodka. Strieber goes on describing the beings as emanating from, quote, "a world that reaches across space and time, that penetrates not only this universe and its secrets, but many others as well, that in ancient beyond belief, and in a way that I can hardly even begin to explain, impeccable. I'm not saying that they're pleasant. They're as tough as nails and mean as snakes and dangerous as plutonium. You cannot be with them without also being with your own truth. Then you see what you really are, a little fragment in a vastness so great, so various, and so shockingly, unimaginably conscious that it completely swallows you up." End quote.
Okay, so he's drinking vodka all night. Hell, he's got to have some really good drugs with him at the same time. Straight up. I don't care.
Okay, we got to bring this picture back for a second. So the Communion, a True Story book cover. Oh my God. Hey, we kind of had to do the arc. Believable, kind of believable, not believable. We'll bring it back up next week, ladies and gentlemen. The woman, and this is a quote from Whitley again, "the woman whose portrait is on the cover of Communion was without a doubt the greatest master I have ever known. Her being projected devastatingly powerful knowledge, she has been with me longer than life itself. I am one of her many projects. In the world of the soul, she is rich on a big journey in the direction of ecstasy and seeking to travel there the only way you can, and a great chorus of free souls. Ultimately, as a species, we have to escape this. In fact, no amount of struggle is going to dislodge them. For whatever reason, I think we have been left to the exploiters and the scum. Who knows? Maybe the good guys gave up or lost to war. Maybe those of us who got good treatment were simply being deceived. Unquote. Whitley Strieber, Shedding Light on the Dark Side, Part 2, December 7th, 2003. In recent years, Strieber became increasingly preoccupied with what he has referred to as the dark side of the alien experience. I can't go on. I cannot continue reading this. So the alien on the cover of Communion and on the movie poster was what he described the aliens as being. That's a woman.
Okay. That's his opinion.
Why do I
of
get
a
the
woman.
feeling a woman of the visitors species, not an alien visitor?
Well then,
I think we should have had vodka.
Did he end up having interstellar sex with this thing?
Nope, he just was taught everything about it.
Shit.
Yeah, there's more quotes here I don't feel like going into. You could
By
tell.
the time we're done with this, I'm gonna end up having to drink this whole goddamn bottle. All right.
That's okay.
This is so wrong.
We should have been drinking vodka this entire time. Let's go into what we know.
We
He
know
was
this guy's
by
an
him-
idiot.
Well, he's become apparently the big face of alien encounters. He's talking about we've got to learn from these.
I don't find any of it credible though. How can he be the face?
This is his claims. This ain't my claims. This ain't my claims. We got other people in the world that would be more of a face for alien abductions. Betty and Barney Hill. Hey, something happened. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be in the limelight.
See, and that's
Travis-
it. That's more credible than what this is.
Well, what is it, like 9 different books on communion and rehashing communion and looking back in communion?
Rereading the same shit you read, you did in the first book. I mean,
Oh,
how
but
many
wait,
times
wait.
can you twist it? I mean,
but see, now we have better science now, so we can look back on everything from the 80s and look at it with 2000 science and then rehash what we got, because now we got better science.
just because there's better science doesn't mean the wording and all that makes it. Oh man! All right, sorry, dude. Here it goes. Starting now. Oh,
Now, everybody,
shit.
every now and then we have a show that kind of falls flat. This one's just more entertaining because we have done the arc. We tried to look at this. We were talking before the show came on. We had Betty and Barney Hill, CIA file. We started high, then we came Travis Weldon. We got a little bit more of a mystery, possibilities. Did
Yeah.
they fake it for fame? Now we got the bottom. Now we got Whitley Strieber, podcast, books.
See, that was the problem. We went high, and now we're we're hitting the bottom of the barrel.
Well,
We should went.
It's almost the end of the month. It's almost the end of the month. We also went 60s, 70s, 80s. So we
Okay.
kind of went up the timeline.
All right, fair enough. But all I gotta say is, if anybody out there wants to read the book, watch the movie, give us your honest opinion of both, I'll listen to it. But I mean, give us your honest opinion. What do you think?
I
That's what
think.
I thought. Nothing.
Well, the thing I'm looking at is the fact that, I mean, if we go with all the other alien encounters, anybody else, it's being a lot of things, even Sheep Squatch. These people didn't try to make a buck out of it. They didn't make it their entire, they didn't make it their entire life.
No.
They reported it. They said, this is what I saw. They tried to get away from it. You know, I mean, if we look back on the Mothman prophecies, John Keel, even he wrote a lot of alien stuff, but after Mothman, everybody was on Mothman. And after a while, I believe it was 2011, he basically started to walk away from all of it. And a couple years before he died, he just didn't want to talk about Mothman at all.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everything we've covered, Roswell, everything like that. It's a lot of the people that are just like, yeah, I saw this. This is what I saw. This is what that transpired. I don't want to be reminded of this. I don't want it to be brought up anymore. I'm just reporting this is what happened. Travis Walton, nobody believes him. He spent every waking day at conventions talking about it, just trying to clean up his name. Travis Walton, one book about his encounter. One book.
Yeah.
Whitley Strieber. What, 6, 7 books and counting?
At least.
On one encounter?
Yeah.
A podcast. Going to alien conventions, talking about it.
I mean, if it was me, I would have just done the one book and let people judge it from there.
But James, it's 2011. We have better technology. We can redefine everything.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's 2025, and we can really redefine everything now. Yeah, he's a freaking idiot. He's full of crap, and everything he's supposedly encountered is bullshit. Plain and simple.
Well, the fact,
just to make a buck, because he's a hack of a novelist, and yeah,
he had a string of duds. Oh, hey, I got abducted, even though I was home alone in this cabin.
Drinking vodka all night.
Drinking vodka until I fell asleep. You know. I mean, that takes me back to one of our cases where the homeowner was talking about sleep paralysis. And then before we left, they had 4 giant sleeping pills on the table. And I got to look at that and go, okay, you're suffering from sleep paralysis with these giant horse pills to help you sleep. There's your sleep paralysis. So Whitney, maybe that's what we need to do, James. Maybe we need to drink vodka until we fall asleep. Get abducted by aliens.
Well, I tell you what, you can do the vodka. I'll do the Jack. We'll see which one has the better sleep paralysis.
Maybe we'll be abducted by aliens. Visitors!
Oh,
Not
no,
aliens,
please.
visitors!
I want to ask them if they know this guy. And what their true opinion is of him.
I would have to say that the fact of the matter that the visitors,
quote unquote visitors, yes,
quote unquote, were from an earlier book that failed. So he basically just reused these things. Oh yeah, it was in cat magic, but I didn't know they were real.
Right. Yeah.
But then you were abducted by something that you didn't know was real that were suddenly in a different book that failed. Then when people put 2 and 2 together, you said, oh, I didn't know they were real. I just made them up. There's a lot of that.
very low. Yeah. How do you not know if they're real or if they're not real or real? Come on. See, did he really drink that much that he couldn't freaking tell? Probably so. And again, probably with some sort of drugs. Shit. Come on.
It was the 80s, man.
It was.
But if anybody wants to check that out, the book Communion is on Amazon. The movie, I believe, is a lot on streaming services.
Prime Video. That's where
if you can find it for free. If you can find it for free,
yeah,
might be better. If you can find a used copy, it might
don't
be
pay
better.
For it.
And hopefully someday we can see this guy at a conference. No, we don't. We don't want to see this guy.
No. Dude, just looking at his eyes is just wrong. Just his eyes alone just is enough. That they're full of shit. He's like, I dare you to challenge me.
And that's the thing is, he does ask you to challenge him. Of course, he is 79, lives in New York, I guess. Who knows? Who cares?
Yeah.
I've read The Wolfen. I've read The Hunger. I've read Communion. If you take them as simple novels, if you just take them as a novel and run with it, I think you'd be better off. But next to that, we're gonna bring you something really cool next week. We gotta bring that down, and then we gotta bring it back up. It seems to be our trend. We have the one show that brings you down.
Yeah, we're gonna have to knock it out of the park next week. This next month will be awesome.
Next month, March, will be Oregon. We will be coming to you live earlier in the day that Sunday, the March 23rd. So
Yeah.
I was going to tape it. I was going to tape it and do it late, but you know what? That might be a 3-hour show. We're just going to do it live. It'll be earlier in the day. We'll post up and everything. And then April and May is going to be Montana months with a special in-studio guest who has actually worked and been to a lot of the places we'll be discussing, which is why it's a 2-monther. Star will be joining us for those months. She started listing off places in Montana, and I had to look at my list and her list, and I'm like, yeah, we can't do it in 1 month.
Nah.
Because she came up with too many good places. So it's like, yeah, okay, we got to talk about the jail. We got to talk about the hospital. Yeah, we got to talk about that one. Yeah, that one's a good one too. All right, well, that's a month. Oh, now she's got another one and another one.
Yes.
So Montana will close out season 3. Then we'll take a week off. Back for season 4. Next week, we'll bring you something nice and big, and we'll finish February with, I don't know, War of the Worlds.
No. We can't do that.
Sure we can. I think it's free market now. I don't know. It might be Hey, when we get to the 100th episode, I think we're going to be live streaming a movie for everybody, so that'll be an interesting one. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah.
Until then, we're going to go ahead and wrap up earlier because, I mean, I don't know how much more crap we can give good old Whitney right here.
I don't even think he deserves any more. Get him out of here. Let's put him to bed. Throw him in the trash. Burn him. Him and his multiple books on one little incident that just, yeah. supposedly happened, which didn't happen, but hey. But who are we to say if it really happened or not, right? We're just going by our opinions. My opinion is, it didn't happen.
Well, if you're drinking a bottle of vodka at night to help you sleep, I'll leave it right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get out of here. This is the Doc. Wishing everybody a fabulous week.
Yeah, King James. Wishing you all the best. See you next week.
Be sure to hug your cryptids, everybody. We will see you Sunday with something far better. Bye.